Hi, this is Rohit Venkatachalam. Um, I'm recording the assignment for the Coursera module Managing Machine Learning Projects. Uh, for this topic, for this assignment, I had to choose a problem within my industry or a field of interest that I think so could be for a good opportunity for machine learning to help solve. Uh, and the goal of this is basically to use the CRISP DM methodology uh, and select a project and and follow the due process in building the models. So the guidelines for the project have been already be given. So the main task for this assignment is to choose an valid uh, is to choose a proper a good project business case as well as follow the process the steps outlined in the CRISP TM process. Uh, So for the sake of this assignment, instead of choosing something from my domain, which is mostly banking and economic fraud, I chose to use something a little bit different, which is of also important to the society. Uh, I want to basically improve the way the matchmaking and matrimonial apps, especially in India, there's a different context to it. I would like to basically use machine learning to enhance the experience and improve the efficiency of matrimonial and dating apps. And I'm specifically trying to tailor it to an Indian context. This is a slightly different domain because generally, um, for businesses, they would require repeat customers. They would want to engage the customers into their apps for a longer while. But this is a unique use case in which we would like a better user experiences if somebody could find their partners quickly. Uh, and we definitely would not want them as return customers. So that's an interesting domain and a different the success criteria is quite different from uh, applications that we have. So that's the attractiveness of this. So is it feasible? Yes, I think so. It is feasible. It is I'll have to use quite sophisticated algorithms. We have to understand the user preferences, and also we have to basically train the model based on cultural context of in India, because there are a lot more variables when it comes to Asian societies. It's quite complex, so we have to create a huge amount of classification of clusterization, and this is definitely not an easy but problem to solve, but it could be an interesting challenge. And I think so because it's too complex. I think so it's too complex to solve it. Just and because it's so complex, but a machine learning based approach would essentially be a good way to solve it. So as I said, the business objective. The first step of the CRISP DM process is the business understanding, and the business objective in this case is to improve the user satisfaction and engagement in an Indian matrimonial app. So we had to provide more accurate and relevant matches based on cultural and religious factors. And the data objective is to develop a machine learning to gather data so that we can develop a machine learning model which can accurately predict the compatibility based on the profiles, preferences, and cultural, maybe even educational preferences. What's a success? We definitely like to have an increased revenue. Uh, we'd like to have improved user engagement and potential to attract more pros based on the performance, attract more prospects. Or how it could be the outcome metrics? It could be a higher match quality, improve user satisfaction, and reduce time spent on the app, which I said in the earliest. This is quite opposite to what we would usually expect in conventional commercial apps. Output metrics would be definitely accuracy of match predictions and false positive rate and false negative rates. What are the user factors? I think so. User profiles would be age, gender, caste, religion, education, family background, horoscope. Um, then the user behavior, the communications patterns, how they engage with the web, the swiping patterns essentially. So why is somebody swiping right, left or right is uh, based on the way user interacts, the model needs to be continuously customized as per the user preferences. Uh, uh, and the match preferences. The users would also basically like to know what are the good to have, must have features, and what is not to have features in this case. So what exactly is the solution? So we develop a machine learning model, and we have to do a lot of filtering because in this, so we essentially have to filter a lot of to essentially to match. We have to implement a lot of filters so that they meet the strict criteria defined by users. So users have the option to basically have a loose filter or a very strict filters. So the model basically has to incorporate the user preferences. We'll have to use natural language processing techniques to extract relevant information from user profiles. So, like the way we have sentiment analysis, so in this case, we'll have to use NLP to develop features based on the Indian languages and the nuances of the Indian culture. Uh, so, as a validation experiment, we have to divide a data set into testing and training sets. We had to based on based on the historical data of profiles that we have, and like given a certain profile of users, we or the historical data gives an idea of what typically users of certain profiles and background, essentially what is the likelihood of matching given the given an opposing set. So based on this criteria, we have to train our model and evaluate on it. And also, in this case, that's user feedback is very important. We need to continuously keep on evolving matters. We need to use different approaches like alpha beta testing and continuously seek user input to improve the models. So in this we could have one large models, but we could also have additional models to essentially incorporate user feedback and to assess the primary model. So the system design, it could be quite difficult to for one single algorithm to do. So this could be a model in which we have to use hybrid approaches. So we have to use collaborative and content-based to leverage both user-based and item-based similarities, considering the different factors. In this case, we have to score similarity scores for user profiles, and also based on the user messages, we have to understand based on what the user types. We need to ask them for user input. Just having a long list would not. We also have to basically use some of the large language models to interact with the users and understand what exactly that they want. Just simply asking users to fill a single checklist would not be enough. To deploy, definitely I would use a cloud-based platform for scalability. Potential risk is because over a period of time, there could be a change in data or a concept drift. So even users' preferences might change as they understand themselves. So essentially, because the entire process of matchmaking is the process of understanding themselves, what users want and their requirements would also change. So that's why the models need to be continuously tweaked according to them. Uh, for new users, it might be a little bit challenge because it's a cold start. So they might have to be. So we had to start with some based on the user inputs. We have to essentially start with what is the best fit model. Uh, uh, so a similarity based model filtering has to be performed. We also could be biased, especially for new users, or essentially because of user preferences. The model could also tend to be a little bit biased. So, so that's why the models have to be. We have to be very that the model it doesn't get too much in influence by users of similar profiles, and so bias is something definitely which is of risk in production. We the miti- so this is a model which this is an area where I think the models have to be continuously and regularly trained. So there's a lot of evaluation which has to be need active is there. Bias is definitely a challenge which has to be mitigated. and in a very subtle way, it's also with essentially has to uh, encourage diversity to improve the success and effectiveness. Thank you. Thanks.